All right.
Reedy, would you lead us in the prayer and pledge?
Lord, we thank you for today. Thank you for the beautiful sunshine, the rain that we've had that we've replenished the earth. We thank you for today, this day as we consider the budget for the coming year. We're thankful that we have been able to work through that, Lord. You've helped us with wisdom and knowledge in order that we can come up with solutions for funding the budget. We just ask you, Lord, that you bless our county. You've given us a beautiful place to live. And it's such a wonderful experience to go around the county and see the beauty of your handiwork that you place in various spots. We thank you, Lord, that that's a good sign that we know that you're a true and living God. And Lord, we thank you for our country. We thank you for the freedoms we have. And Lord, help us to be thankful for that, content with what we have rather than complain about what we don't have, because there's a whole world of things you've created that we can never touch, never own, never hold. But help us to give us our part in this world and our peace in this world in order to enjoy it. We thank you for it. Lord, we ask you to be with those that are in need of your touch, your healing, and your healing of hurt and sickness. We ask you, Lord, that you also help us to reach out and be a part of your service to help others that are in need. So it's in Jesus' name we pray. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the agenda is the agenda clearance. Please select present again. Grace is not. He's here, I see. First on the agenda is the agenda concurrence. I have a motion to accept the agenda as stated. Motion by Matthew Hopkins, second by Barbara Brown. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Agenda concurrence for this approved. Next on the
agenda is the minutes of the May 18th, 2026 regular session of the Giles County Legislative Body.
motion approved by Chief Pruitt, second by Ms. Brown. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Being none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent.
You need to vote? I believe.
Okay, please vote on your tablet to approve the minutes. You got aye? Yeah, a yes on the minutes.
There's 21 ayes. Next order of business is public comments on agenda items.
Do we have any members of the public that would like to speak on an agenda item? Mr. Cesarino? You would, please, state your name, sign in, and tell us what you'll be speaking on. Microphone needs to be.
Thank you for the honor and privilege of being here today. My name is Mike Cesare, and I'd like to speak again on regarding the budget deficit. Nearly half of that resulting from the commissioner pay increase scheduled to go into effect this September. And the current pay system was adopted several years ago to promote it as a way to simplify commissioner compensation while maintaining attendance at the meetings. That was changed. One concern was that counties moving to a flat salary often see their attendance decline. We were told this would not happen in Giles County because all of our commissioners are dedicated public servants. I hope that remains true. However, I remember when commissioners received $40 for attending the Ag Park meetings. Attendance was typically 15 to 16 commissioners. Once compensation for those meetings ended, attendance dropped significantly. Human nature. For those who may not know, in the audience, commissioners are currently paid based on attendance. General meetings 75, committee meetings 40. Commissioners typically earn between $2,500 and $3,500 a year, depending on how many meetings they attend. The current system works. Meetings are well attended because commissioners have the incentive to stay informed and involved. Some have argued that higher pay will attract a better, more professional commission. I respectfully disagree. Public service is not about the paycheck. Looking at this room, I see many dedicated commissioners whom I greatly admire and respect who have chosen not to run again. Their decisions have little to do with compensation. Please also consider the school board. School board members review policies, budgets, make decisions affecting our children, our most valuable resource. They answer the phone calls from concerned parents at all hours of the night and weekends, and they carry this tremendous responsibility. Yet the school boards received about $1,400 a year. Commissioners' pay will increase to approximately $5,300. We have 21 commissioners and only 7 school board members. They all serve Giles County. The difference in compensation is not fair. Those commissioners who are retiring and will not be returning in September, thank you for your years of service. I appreciate it. Well, here. I ask you to approve the budget if you must today. It's necessary. But before you leave today, vote to rescind the commissioner pay increase. And to those who will serve on the next commission, whether it's David or Terry or anybody that's executive, think about what our meetings will be like if only half of the commissioners bother to come. They receive pay whether they participate or not. The current system has served Giles County well for many, many, many years. It encourages attendance and involvement and accountability. But my daddy always said, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. I encourage you to resent the new pay increase. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other? Okay. If you would please sign in, state your name and what you'll be speaking on. You will have 5 minutes.
I'm Randy Blair, and I'm running for the fourth district county commissioner. I would like to address the deficit on the budget. The committee asked the department to cut their budgets to the bone. They did so at the committee's request. Now, I didn't hear the county commissioners were going to cut their budget. Instead, they voted to give themselves a 100% raise. And in saying that, they also have the clause that says they get paid whether they are at a meeting or not. Now, you're about to vote on a budget that's $112,000 shy of balancing the budget. The committee accepted $488,000 in the school, except $450,000 from the highway department kicked in, but no mention of the commissioners taking a cut in their new fiscal year. When I'm in a crisis or anybody else is in a crisis, you don't cut. You have to cut corners where you can, not give yourself a pay raise or dip in your reserves. That's not balancing the budget. That's taking money from Peter to pay Paul. You're more or less saying that you're better than now to take a cut. Where's the fairness? Sounds like a lot of selfishness to me. As far as getting paid when you're not here, what's for that? Strike one. Raising your pay when you can't even balance the budget. Strike two, getting paid when you're not even here. Strike three, thinking you're better than anyone else to deserve a raise in a crisis, whether you balance the budget or not. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Are there any other members of the public who'd like to speak on an agenda item? Seeing none, we will move to the next item.
County executive and department head reports. We have the, economic development director.
Good afternoon, everyone. So a quick update on the labor force. The numbers of unemployed in Giles County continues to run right around 600. There's that number before the last 6 months or so, it's averaged right around there. The previous 6 months, it was about 60 lower, around 540. And so the resulting unemployment rate has been hanging right in the mid 4%. A little bit of perspective around that, you know, you've read the news about how high the unemployment rate has been recently in Murray County. And that was largely associated with some cuts that General Motors made, and then also that Ultium battery plant they had. So if you go back and look at their labor force numbers, the number of unemployed in Murray County starting late last year after those layoffs were done, jumped about 1,500 people, even though the total number of layoffs was around 3,000. Some of those workers are starting to come back now, but the point I want to make is there's probably some carryover impact from those layoffs in Giles County. We talked before about the number of people that commute across the county line to come work here. Likewise, we have people that live in Giles County and go work other places. And so there's probably some carryover impact there as well. And as General Motors and Ultium start to bring their employees back, which I understand they're doing right now, we could see some carryover positive benefit to our unemployment numbers in Giles County as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. The Exit 14, quick update on that. Y'all know we've been working with Pilot, had some discussions around the waste treatment system out there. We did yesterday get some information from them, from the engineering company that they've hired to do the design of that system. Some information on what that design would look like, what the anticipated upfront capital costs would be that Pilot has said that they would bear, and then also what the annual operating costs would look like on that. And so at a high level, one of the challenges we'll have to work through now is kind of how, if we end up having, for example, South Giles Utility District operate that, take it over and operate it, even though they're doing it on a contract basis, when you start looking at the annual operating cost, the engineering company has told us it would be about $160,000 a year for a 40,000 gallon per day system. And then on top of that, whatever utility district is running, it also has to cover the depreciation costs. And so if you assume on a $2.5 million capital project, a 15-year depreciation cost, that puts the total cost that they would have to carry or cover at over $300,000 a year. And so, you know, you've got to have a lot of people hooking onto the sewer system, and there's a transition period, you know, as the exit starts to develop out. So we're making progress on those discussions, but I just want you to understand that there's still a lot of detail that has to be worked there. And as we get more information, I'll keep you updated on kind of what's going on there. The few other things that I would want to mention around primarily industrial is keep consolidating industries who I've talked to you about before, that is looking at trying to purchase the Bankston RV Center down in Ardmore. That facility is still operating now, but they're trying to purchase that. They have put a letter of intent out to them. I think I showed you last time. I talked with them today, and they expect to know something on that next week. And then once they find out if their offer's been accepted, that they're still trying to kind of work through the details of how they're going to finance the move from Morgan to Giles County. So I'm working to try to get them some resources to kind of talk through that. But that project is still slowly moving ahead. And so I'm becoming a little more optimistic that we'll get that kind of a finish line, but still some work to do on that. Some of you may be aware that the company out with Dansville South Industrial Park South was originally Tenor-Plast and Windsor Lowell, ABC Technologies. They were recently acquired by a company out of Ontario called Arkton, Arkdom. That deal closed back in March of this year. I've been in discussions with them for a couple of reasons. One is they have some pilots paying a little taxes for that facility. And so we're kind of working through how those would get transitioned over because they would go to the new owners. We're trying to work on getting all of our documents updated. But also they have indicated that they would potentially consider doing some investment in that facility. It could start out as a relatively small investment, but one of the things, if you're not aware, that I remind you of is when that deal was first done back in 2004, in addition to 12-acre tract that their building is on right now in their operation, they actually have 30 acres that are part of the Industrial Park South directly behind them. And so I'm trying to have some discussion, you know, to find out, you know, what interest they may have in making this a bigger facility. And so just in the early stages of having those discussions, but there are some opportunities, hopefully, to see them do some expanding. A couple other things. One is the Sundrop Festival. I hope all of you got a chance to attend that for at least a short period of time. We did get some data from a company called Placer AI. They're the location analytic company. They did a report for us because we're looking at maybe starting to use them on a subscription basis to do some data analytics for us around people that come into the county, help us with doing some retail recruitment and those things. They ran a report that showed that there were 12,300 people at Sundrop Fest that weekend in the area, kind of immediately around the square. And that number would have been up from about 20% from last year. It was a little over 10,000 last year. It was pretty bad weather. And even though there was a threat of something this year, it turned out to be a hot, but pretty nice day. So 12,300 people. And when you look at, they can actually map where those people came from. And over half of those came from outside Giles County. So about 45% of those were in Giles County, 55% came from outside the county. So clearly a good example of where having those kinds of events to bring people into our county and spend some money on the year. The Hampton Inn auction, I've talked to you about that before. I understand from the attorney that's working on that deal for the bank that the money is owed to, is that they're kind of at the last straw right now, and that is going to occur tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. right here at the gazebo. So I guess there's always a chance something could change. But right, that hotel, the new owners, I mean, I know there's some people that have been waiting around on this auction. And obviously we would engage with them pretty quickly because number one, we have to figure out what impact, if any, this has on tax increment financing that was done 10 years ago as part of that development out there. And then the other thing is we want to understand if the new owners intend to try to get what they call a Hampton flag pack. But right now, that's not technically a Hampton property. You can't go book it through your Hilton app because they've not paid the royalties you're supposed to be paying the Hilton. So hopefully the people that end up with it get that caught up. Because I think when you look at some of the hotel motel tax dollars, I think we're seeing some impact of the fact that people that normally like to build, book at a Hilton property because it's not available as a Hilton property, they're going to stay in somewhere else. And so we think that's certainly having some impact in the number of people staying there. Any question for me? Yes.
Bill, last year, we got together, the city, the county, EDC, to give $68,000 credit on for a report, and the report actually extends October this past year. I'm getting some people to know about their reports, they're gonna be made public.
Yeah, it is public now. I can be, anybody who wants a copy of it, I can give you a copy. Somebody get asked and I've sent copies out. I'll be happy to give you a copy before.
I've got it, and it's got a lot of good information that I think really benefit from knowing. Good, that, at least email it to all the commissioners.
Yeah, I'll be happy to. Well, probably the easiest thing is maybe email it to you, Carol, is that okay? And then you can distribute it. The report that, Mr. Jones is asking for, Paragon report that was done, it's a pretty lengthy report. If I just email that to you, can you send it to the commissioners? Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves.
That seems to be.
Yes, several people in addition work out at Murray County Saturday. And I expect they have closed down that abandoned operation.
It will be opening back up when they originally furloughed the employees. I just talked to the economic development person there this morning to get some clarification on that. It was like there are 700 employees that were furloughed here, and they did that back at the end of the year. They were anticipating starting back up before now, like in April, and that's been delayed August, but they do still plan to start that back up and rehire those employees. Yes, sir.
Please use your microphone.
That's it. This ain't got nothing to do with what you just got said, but I've been asked 2 or 3 times this week about this data system. You make a comment on that, I don't know what it is.
well, all I can tell you is, I mean, I kind of kept up with the controversy going on in Lawrence County, specifically and other places as well. We have had people reach out to us since I've been in this role, and I've been in here almost 3 years now. We have had people reach out to us in the past, not anything in the last 12 months or so. And we did not pursue them at the time, primarily because at least the version that they were looking at required pretty significant amounts of energy. And we just didn't have the infrastructure to support that and still have energy left over if we wanted to fill some of these other, lots of stuff we have in the industry. So we have not pursued any of those, but there's nothing active going on, with me right now. I've not had anybody contact me in the last few months or so. Okay.
We don't know a lot about it except my experts don't know. So, all the water and all the I need to find out.
Yeah, it's, my understanding is, I mean, there's always two sides to every coin, right? And clearly there are examples out there across the country where data centers have come in and they've used tremendous amounts of water and power, and they've had a pretty significant impact. My understanding and talking to my counterpart in Lawrence County is that this is a different technology. So for example, on the water system, that it's basically a closed loop system. It does have to be purged on some frequency. And so you're not going to reuse the water indefinitely, but they're not pulling fresh water in and immediately discharging it after it's used for cooling. That there is some recycle. So there are things like that I think make this system a little bit different than some of the others. But I certainly understand that there's a lot of public concern about these, and it's getting a lot of attention, and rightly so. The bottom line, I'm not making a statement on, whether you all consider zoning or not, but the truth is, if one wants to come in and put something on a piece of property, unless they're coming to me and want something in the industrial park, there's not a whole lot I can do to stop it.
Who's up, they,
Excuse me.
that'd be up to the people of Charleston, Department.
Well, it'd be up to the individual landowner, right? If there's no zone in it.
Best.
Yeah, they have to be able to supply the power, but I understand, some of these footprints have, they basically put in huge generators, right? So they kind of get around with power. Of course, Elon Musk. Yes.
That's a good thing about it. I'm going to the job. I'm halfway from the church. Oh, it's probably, it was actually being across the street from the time.
No develops on that. You may be referencing there was somebody reached out to us several months ago about doing it wasn't a dump, it was basically a big recycle thing. They were gonna bring stuff in and kind of recycle it into its individual components and then resell them, like get out the glass, get out the metal, get out the paper, those kinds of things. There's nothing really going on with that right now. And that one, any of those kinds of things would have to, they would have to come before, the commissioning anyway, because of the Jackson applications, you have people would have a chance to say yay or nay on a system like that, is our understanding. Yes, you do.
Zoning wouldn't keep out an AI center, it would just say where they could locate. But where do you think the most likely place AI center would locate, considering need for water and for electricity, unless they did their own electric power?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, obviously, from a water perspective, if somebody needed a lot of water, they're going to have access to it on city water, right? Because the infrastructure is there inside the city. And then if they really did need power, it would have to be close to a substation or a TVA transmission line. So there are a limited number of places where it could go for sure.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Mr. Reese.
Thank you.
Executive Stowe, do you have anything to say?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Sheriff Purvis?
Thank you all for your time. This doesn't require your approval or permission, but I am required to make you aware of it. A couple of weeks ago, Mr. Reese made a connection between myself and the plant manager at American Nagatell, and they, through some talks and some discussions, they've agreed to partner with the sheriff's office to start a work release program. At American Nagatell, they have interviewed 4 inmates that I deemed acceptable, non-violent criminals. They've chosen to hire 2. What that means to the county is that part of my conditions for entering the work release program are that the inmates pay the sheriff's office $10 a day. That's in the statute. You can collect up to 20, I think, but 10 is the sheriff's fee. That'll be a revenue that comes back to you all. And the other condition, one of the other conditions, is that 25% of their earnings come off the top and go to court debt, because we're not collecting that now. So I just need to make you aware of that because of the revenues. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Yes, sir.
Clarification, they also were income monitors, correct?
They do. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right, discuss that.
Thank you. It's a great question. Anybody else?
Yes. It's just like what cities and counties before.
A lot of sheriffs have stopped doing it because it's kind of, there's a lot of moving parts, but yeah, we used to do it years ago when we were down the street. And it's pretty complicated, but, so for that reason, a lot of people have stopped doing it. Lawrence County still does it. Murray County, I think, quit, but, we're starting small, starting with 2 inmates, kind of sticking their toe in the water and seeing how it goes. They want more. They've said, upon release, if the employee was a good employee, they would have a full-time job. Yes, sir.
All that matters.
Just make it so, yeah. And again, I want to start small. So we have to transport them. And if I was taking them all over town or out of the county, it would be just a little nightmare for me. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff Ferguson. Are there any other department heads that would like to address the commission? Seeing none, we'll move to the next agenda item.
The next item is elections, that in the election we have today is for no who's public at large. The re-elections are Lindsay Bowles, Sharon L. Chapman, Darlene Coleman, Maddie L. Elliott, Billy R. Harville, Kimberly J. Norton, Shannon Porter, and Sherry Garrett Putnam. The new notary application is Julie Ann Stacks.
For the wishes, motion approved by Terry Jones, second by Tracy Wilson. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
We have 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next order of business is reports. Today's reports are the finance director's report for April and May of 2026, which includes the following: Giles County General Fund, Drug American Rescue Plan, Probation Fund, Highway, School, Federal, Food Service, Debt Service, Capital Projects, Highway Capital Projects, Education Capital Projects, Education Capital number two, and other capital projects. We also have the Giles County Financial Management Policies and Procedures Manual, which is on file in the county clerk's office.
For the wishes of the commission. Combine and approve. Okay. Motion to combine and approve as one by Matthew Hopkins, seconded by Evan Badua. Any discussion? Dr. Latham? Third by Dr. Latham. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
And the vote is 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next order of business is agreements, contracts, and grants. Today's, agreements, contracts, and grants are the sheriff THSO amendment T125 and 9/30/26 emergency management performance grant 2025, and it's from October 24 through September 26. ARP broadband ready grant amendment ending 10/31/26. EMA Homeland Security Grant 2025, 9/1/25 to 4/30/28. Historic Development Courthouse Improvements, CRD, that's March 3rd, 2026 through March 2nd, 2029. The Animal Shelter, Animal Friendly Spay and Neutral, Neuter, July 1, 26 to June 30, 27. Health Department, July 1, 26 to June 30, 27. And Air Gas Cylinder Product Sale Agreement, June 15, and starting June 15, 2026 for 3 years.
For the wishes of the commission, Mr. Butler?
Make a motion to combine, approve A through G, and vote on H separately.
The motion is to approve A through G. Second by Ms. Jones. Any discussion on motion to combine and approve A plus G? Ms. Jones.
I'll just, let me explain why. Brad has done work for Air Gas.
I've got to abstain, mate.
Okay. Okay, so the vote will be to combine and approve A through G. Any more discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
And the vote is 21 ayes.
Motion passes. Next, we have H, which is the air gas cylinder product sale agreement. This is for our ambulance department. Mr. Daughtry has found a better price on the air option that he needs. And that's what this pertains to. Got a motion to approve. Terry Jones, second by Evan Bador. Any discussion on H? All those in favor of approving H, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Carol, Mark, we got any such thing that was. Brandy.
Okay. The order of business is amendments. The first amendment is authorizing the 2026-40, authorizing amendment of the 25-26 budget, County, Johnson County General Fund 101 and Drug Fund 122.
What are the wishes of the commission? Motion approved by Mr. Bador, second by Mr. Hopkins. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
The vote is 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next resolution is 2026-41, authorizing the amendment of the 25-26 budget, Johnson County Highway Fund 131.
What are the wishes of the commission? Motion approved by Dr. Lathrop, second by Mr. Coleman Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Johnson also was approved.
And the vote is 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next resolution is 2026-42, authorizing the amendment of the 25-26 budget, Johnson County Board of Education General Purpose School Fund 141 and Fund 143 cafeteria.
What are the wishes of the commission? Hold on just a second, Bethany, we need to add the.
Okay.
We'll vote on this one first. Okay. So you're voting on 2026-42, all right? Any discussion? Do we have a motion? Second. Motion by Evan, second by Ms. Rose Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
The vote is 21 ayes. And then the next order of business is resolution 2026-42A, which was not on the original agenda. That's it's authorizing the amendment of the 25-26 budget, Giles County Board of Education Fund 143 cafeteria and summer school.
Beth, is there anything you need to explain on this, or this is just an addition because it's for summer school? Okay. Could I have a motion to pass that by Terry Jones, second by Tracy Wilburn? Any discussion? cafeteria funds for summer school. Seeing none, please vote.
And the vote is 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next resolution is 2026-43, approving the uncollectible patient accounts for the job.
Approved by Dr. Lake, second by Matthew Hopkins. Any discussion? Mr. Adams,
What year is each write-off?
I can't hear you.
What year is each write-off?
Ms. Summers, could you answer that for us?
Mr. Adams, there's not specifically, an exact year, but the collection agency that we use, Spots Collection Agency, what they do is they serve the accountants that are no longer serviceable. And my understanding that is 7 years. So these accounts are gonna be anything between 7 years and older, or they're gonna be some that they have deemed, uncollectible, if they've exhausted all their resources. If you're gonna have old accounts, and maybe some that they just can't, they've exhausted all their resources.
I understand, that's 7 years.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
The vote is 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next, order of business is 2026-44, approving the write-off of $3,512 uncollected taxes from the votes of the Giles County Trustee.
What are the wishes of the commission? Motion approved by Terry Jones, second by Norman Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Vote is 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next resolution is 2026-45, making appropriations to nonprofit charitable organizations of Giles County, Tennessee for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026, ending June 30, 2026.
Motion approved by Evan Bedore, second by Ms. Kirk. Any discussion? Ms. Jones?
So this is reflected in the budget. That was approved by the committee, so, if this passes, but the budget doesn't, does that make this null and void, or what would be the outcome?
Ms. Summers?
Ms. Scott, I think that's a great question. I would say so. I feel like the budget is treated as a whole, and this is just a component of the budget. So I personally, unless, Mr. Williams disagrees, I feel like if this is part of the budget, and I would be good that it would be null and void.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Vote is 18 ayes and 3 no.
Motion passes. Give us just a second. She had it set up that this might be broken out to vote on separately, so. Get the next item, resume.
The next resolution is 2026-46, making appropriations for the various funds, departments, institutions, offices, and agencies of Giles County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1, 26, and ending June 2027.
What are the wishes of the commission? Motion approved by Mr. Bador, second by Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Discussion. Ms. Jones.
There's $732,148 that's going to be put toward, this, help me out on this, it's coming out of one fund in the school system into the operations budget, is that correct? And it would be increasing maintenance of efforts. And would that, continue with my questions, and would that increase the money spent per student? Those are my questions.
Finance, please.
So I feel like it's a two-part question. I may not be able to answer that completely, but I feel like your question is the $732,000, that is an increase to the maintenance of effort of the school system.
And it's coming out of what you count.
That is actually funds that they already have been retaining. That was part of their own collections. And now with really in essence that what it means is that you all would be allowing them to budget for it, for their operating budget. Whereas before it was just kind of being collected and dump it into their fund balance, if you will. Now they'll be able to actually budget for that for operation. So that's that one piece of that. So it will be increasing their revenues and increasing their expenditures because they'll be able to use those funds, which ultimately I feel like will be considered to increase their per student allocation. But again, that may be overstepping in the question for Dr. Beard on that piece of it. But again, the $750,000 they have already been receiving. It's just now they're actually able to use it for operational. This is actually on the books, if you will.
And right now, that particular account that would be coming out of, is that not set up to pay for school renovations?
So previously what the school board has been utilizing their urban collections for, there's $1 million of that they've been using for their bond payment, which is still part of the urban collections. And also they've been using that to transfer funds for their renovations. That's how they were able to successfully fund Giles County High School with the little assistance of the county. That's how they're servicing the bond for Bridgeport and also Pulaski Elementary School. plus various other, rhythm projects and so forth throughout the years.
So each year, we see money coming out of that over collections account, sales tax, going toward school renovations and all that you just mentioned. So what, what, if you take all that out, what's left on the account? I mean, I'd like to see total this amount, we're taking this out for whatever. And how much do you have left? And you're taking out, you're gonna move it into operations. Then next year, I mean, I've got to say that. And then next year, that's $713,000 some odd dollars. Because it's not will become maintenance better. Where is it coming from?
It will come from, again, the revenues that they're allotted by statute. So they'll be able to actually budget for those revenues that they're already receiving. So it's already in their coffers. So it's not coming from like a county budget or highway or government part. It's already funds, it's in their budget. And if you notice, like when you approve the finance reports, you'll see that they have a very large fund balance.
Right.
And it's because of their over collections. And of course, they have plans, to be able to utilize those going forward. They want to do another roofing projects. I know we talked about that briefly. They're going to have an amendment for you guys in July for that. But basically, what we're looking at here on the school budget is we're looking at they were having an over collection. And I want to say, I don't have the number right in front of me, I can find it. It was well over $2 million that they were over collecting. And basically, it was from the growth of the penny over the years of property taxes, and also for the sales tax and TVA and LUA. What's highlighted on your budget on 141 that it's kind of darker as we went over in the budget meetings, that kind of, I wanted that to be very clear for you all as well as the school board to know what your maintenance of revenues are. And you can look at those and you can clearly see that what we budget is nowhere near the amount we've been receiving. Is because of the maintenance of effort that they were held to. So that's where you're seeing that difference. And so what the board has asked to do is increase their maintenance of effort, but then they also gave up 5 pennies. Well, suggested, I should say they gave up because you all control those pennies, but they suggested to help with the county shortfall to be able for the county to utilize. So that's kind of what we did. There's kind of a two-fold here. We have increased their maintenance of effort, but the county is budgeted to kind of sweep 5 pennies is what. So in essence, how I look at it financially, it's kind of a win-win for both entities here. Did I answer your question? And
Just some great, maybe I haven't asked all the questions I have. So $713,148, what's it gonna be? Is there any specific, projects or just?
no, ma'am, that's strictly operational, for the men getting the salaries to 50,000. Also, as we talked about, in which, on the amendment that you guys just approved, I'm surprised I didn't have any questions. I would have come up and explained that, but if you, those of you who look through it closely, you'll notice that we talked about the shortfall in utilities. So we had, so we had to increase that from knowing the shortfall we had this year. We had to dramatically increase our budget for next year is to be able to cover that shortfall that we had this year for you. So utilities was huge. Teacher all staff 2% raise, and then just we had a retirement increase. I don't have to agree if I'm missing anything else. Most of it's just most of it's just day to day. There's nothing really significant.
The student population, according to that Paragon report in 2025, is 3,000, just by not for this, but was 3,518 students, and I understand there's 3,417 students presently. I think that's the latest count. But yet we're raising the maintenance of effort. And we're already in this Paragon report, it shows that we're paying more per student in Giles County than all the counties around us. But this maintenance of effort gives me pause. And I'm sorry I couldn't bring all this out. We didn't have any work. Our budget, when we did the budget committee meeting, we had not had a school committee meeting where all of this was discussed. And so it was all, I didn't budget mine until that morning. And so I had been thinking about this, and I'm just not really sure about raising that.
And I totally think that's a great, but I do want to kind of recap that And, I'm not, definitely trying not to be disrespectful to this body, but, when the school board met, there wasn't any commissioners there.
What
And
they're-
also, and also that we did have it in school committee, so I do feel like it was discussed about, because obviously when it comes to raising maintenance of effort, and I think anybody who's worked with me a long time, especially the school board knows, I'm not going to raise maintenance of effort until everybody's on board, because I want everybody, I always say, I don't care how you vote, I want to make sure you understand what you're voting on, and raising maintenance of effort is a big deal. It should always be treated as a big deal, so I do feel like we did on our end, in the school boards, we did our due diligence on making sure that was communicated. But I do understand the reservations, because that's very valid to have that, but I do think it was very much well discussed.
So we're showing you, this is, thank you, Ben. No, I don't think so. So this government report shows that Giles County spends the most per student. Yeah,
Well, we have other commissioners with questions.
okay, yeah,
So-
okay. $13,689. And Marshall County, $11,248. Lincoln County, $11,454. Lawrence County, $11,668. In view of that, I would say, why, or how we can justify raising maintenance of effort? Which is, in 2025, it was 13,689. And I don't know what this, the new funds here. I don't know how much they would raise it at. I haven't, figured that, but.
Anything further?
No.
Okay, Mr. Coffey.
First, I'd like to say that you're talking about the school board meeting and no commissioner showing up. I'm on the school board committee and never been notified of a meeting for the school. On another note, if we raise the we continue to give them the max of effort, getting that increasing every year, we have to match that.
So there is no max to maintenance of effort. So whatever the new maintenance of effort is at this time, then that's what it's set to until you all allow them to raise it again. So it's not something that's based on inflationary. It's not like the highway department's 5-year average. It is a flat amount that we have to budget for. There is reasons you can lower it. Department of Education has to get involved based on if they have a loss of enrollment, and that can be adjusted through the state. But it is just what it is now.
The 700 and something that we increasing now. The next year we'll vote to give, basically either give that same amount to them or.
It's once you put it, once it's in there, then the only way you can get it taken back would be Department of Education would have to be involved. And again, I want to remind everybody, this is funds they're already receiving. Okay, so they're already getting these funds. They're not coming from the county. It's not through tax increase. I don't want anybody to think that. I mean, it's just, we're allowing them to budget for that.
Mr. Reedy?
The way this is happening, once it gets in there and it's in the maintenance of effort is increased, it allows them to move the budget plan, which they had not. They can use this extra money for continuing to improve the school.
Yes, sir. I mean, when they
pulling out a fund balance, once they get it, and they can do it when they have fund balance, you throw it on those expenditures. So this just gives them a little bit more flexibility than what they have. And, I can't speak on to what their needs are. I'm not out there every day. I don't know what it is. I just know what the numbers are. And I just know that there
for increase in maintenance of effort financially, based on what is in the budget, was a need. I can outline and speak to you on that. But I feel like I'm overstepping on other bigger, it
report, that is from data from 2023. There is data that we can send out as far as Giles County school system highlights, and we can give you information. I want to also remind you that the data that is represented in the Aragon report is during ESSER, when we had the ESSER funding. Our county received over $12 million that we had, that we, bought buses with. We had people that we had to let go, many of them because of the human capital. We couldn't afford that after the ESSER funding diminished. So I would hope that the people in this community and the stakeholders in this community would be
Are spending more on our students, because that's what our goal is. Our children are our future. And when you think about an industry or a business, just an instance, Mr. Hopkins, you deal with IT. You order a box of motherboards for computers. They're defective.
HVAC for many years. If you had a PTAC unit that came to you defective when you bought it, what are you going to do with that?
I'll return
We are a public school system. Our parents and our guardians send us the very best that they have. And we take them and we take care of them. And if we spend more money on them than Lawrence, Lincoln, Murray, Marshall, that's okay, because they're our children, our future. We don't get to send those children back. We don't get to say, hey, oh, we can't take you because you have a disability. Private schools can, homeschools don't have to accommodate those things, but we do. So if we're going to use money that's already in our fund balance to better our education system, I can only hope that you would be supportive of that rather than being negative.
Ms. Jones?
So I understand there's work to be done on the regional schools, and I heard a $13 million amount mentioned by Ms. Vanderpool. I don't know if that's for both schools or one school. Is that other collections? I don't know what the number of it is. Is that other collections fund going to fund?
Have that kind of money right now to move forward with that project. That is what we know we are being told is going.
Collections and put it into operational, then you're not even going to spend it on that. That's what I'm worried about. And then, so who's going to be funding it? Are you going to come back to the county and say raise taxes again? Because that's what I'm concerned about. I can't see into the future, and I need more data to try to determine what's going to happen in the future. How is this vote going to affect next year, the next, and the next? And I don't think I have enough data in front of me to even make a guess.
But we operating the expenses, so that's going to take care of a lot of the maintenance needs that are in place right now. Yes, ma'am, some of it's going to go wherever it needs to be. Our needs in this county are much more severe than the funding federally takes care of. We had a meeting with the State Department this afternoon over the annual performance report, which has to do with federal money and special education students. And we are being tasked with getting early intervention in place, which is getting more pre-K students into our school system who have disabilities starting at age 3. But they're not going to increase our funding. So everything that we can get, we will be putting toward our students, whether that's on a capital project, a bus to get them to and from, or instructional materials. And I want to say too, our meeting agendas are on our website, and every document that we have at the time we publish our agenda is linked to that. So there is no reason why you shouldn't know about our meetings and where we are and what we're doing, because everything is connected to those. They're linked, you have access to them, it's all online and available. First Thursday and third Thursday of every month.
Thank you, Dr. Beard. Any further discussion? Terry, Ms. Jones? Not school room.
We're hearing both ways.
Please use your
balance,
microphone.
did balance the budget. We did not turn in a truly balanced budget without taking money somewhere else.
I feel like, and I'm really joking with you, but that's kind of like an interrogation question, so, okay, so let me use back over to you. If we're talking, are we done talking about schools? Okay, all right, so is the county budget revenue expenditures, do they equal? The answer is no. We're short on county 100 and should have it memorized. 112,000, okay. 110,572. As I stated in the budget meetings before, we're budgeting expenditures over revenues by that amount. I think we all can understand that. Am I concerned about that number? No, sir, I'm not. We're gonna be just fine, because every department, because the county again is made up of so many departments. And within those departments, there's gonna be some money's gonna come back. I already can guarantee it right now, that every department is not going to spend their own budget. And Josh is back there shaking his head, so he knows, my big players know, they don't, if they have to have enough operating, and strip them down to where they're barely able to have anything to use. So that's why I'm not concerned with it. Highway could be considered a concern. So if you got your binders, let's flip this with that. So we're on the highway, we're showing a use of fund balance of $426,799. That's use of fund balance. Expenditures are going to be exceeding our projected revenues. Is this one concerning? Today, it's not concerning. Maybe not next year. In the future, that is a concerning budget because we're going to eat into our fund balance. This is nothing new that I've told you guys in all the budget hearings. I'm not saying anything I hadn't already said. That one has the potential to be concerning. Gene and I both have talked about that. He feels the same way I do. What makes the highway department budget different than the county general budget and the school's budget, the way theirs stands right now, is if Gene were to be into a cash flow deficit, he has the ability to control his budget more than anybody else does. He just has to stop paying. He stops paying. He does not have to worry about still running calls, still doing, etc. So that's why this budget is concerning for if we're going to keep maintaining this level of paving, which we all know that Gene wants to pave every mile he can. And I want to commend him right now. A lot of times at the end of the year, people start slowing down because they don't want to spend, they wouldn't want to close out stuff this time of year. He's going 90 to nothing trying to save $1 before July 1. That's something y'all don't even know, but we know. So he wants to get it done. So with that particular budgeting going forward, it can be concerning, and we'll have to address, we'll either have to figure out more funding for him, or we'll have to be like, you're going to have to stop paying as many roads. That's a controllable fund, if you will. Unlike the county general, I don't think we can't just stop answering calls. We can't stop county government. So I went a long way around to answer your question because number one, we have expenditures exceeding revenues, but I'm not overly concerned at this point. But as I said, you need to be on notice. If we keep on with the highway, we're going to end up with a very short balance.
Thank you. I just want to point it out because I know we got some more stuff coming up. We got nonprofits coming up, and this is out there the year we balance this budget this year. But we balance what we've been talking about in our meetings for the last 2 years is how we're taking money from the fund balance and taking from our savings account, put our checking account, and make it balance. And that's what we want to get away from. And I'm glad we were only like 110 away from that. Because like I said, nobody spends a full budget. We had that money, 300 plus coming back maybe. So we're in good shape. I agree. I want to point that out.
But I also want to bring into light, because, I like to bring up facts when it comes to numbers. The county budget, had we not, you all budget committee wise, not voted to take 5 pennies from the schools, the county budget would not be looking as good as it is. We need to always remember that where we came last year, that tax increase that affected everybody here that nobody liked,
wasn't where it needed to be for where the county government was operating last year. So in turn, this year, the school system, you all, 5 pennies to the county general just for operational. So we still need to be mindful of that. That's where we're at. And even though the county general budget looks better than it's looked in a long time to me, I still know that we had to take from somewhere else to make it work.
Ms. Woodard? All right, Mr. Reedy? Mr. Hopkins?
Are we meeting financial management committee rules?
Yeah, great question. I kind of do. Because I know the intent behind this.
Okay, that's a great question. No. So, whenever you write a policy, you think you have, you write it as best you can with the information you have. I think after going through this budget year, Beth and I are already looking at that policy and saying we need to include some other variables in this, because what is a balanced budget? It is more than just expenditures and your obligations and your revenue. You've got the amount of fund balance that you've spent throughout this year. That's a variable. So if you've dipped into fund balance $200,000 this year, that's $200,000 in the hole. The other variable is what is not going to get spent by the departments this year. We don't know those answers until the books are closed. So I would say when you're balancing a budget, in your budget committee, you would want zeros at the end of your budget, right? You want your expenditures and revenues to balance, and then when you're booking that funds, and that's going to be in addition to the policy that we've already talked about.
Just to finish the thought, while I know we aren't meeting that, I do believe this is the best we've done in the time, at least in this commission. This is as close as we come, actually doing our job. Our primary job is to balance the budget. And I believe this is the best we've done. I still think we've fallen short.
It's the best we've done because last year you raised $3 million. Okay. So you would be looking at a $3.1 million deficit. So for everyone who voted against the tax increase, I don't know where you would have come up with 3.1 million. Right now, you're looking at 112, and that's what Beth is saying is doable. If we were here wringing our hands over 3.1 million, there would, you know what the solution is for that. So that's where we were last year. That's why you're comfortable this year. I can tell you going forward, when I'm not behind this microphone and maybe not even sitting on the sidelines, there's future commissioners here. You need to be looking at tax increases 3% a year, 4% a year. Don't wait 12 years and raise the tax rate 25%. Okay? You need that's what this balanced budget policy is for. So you get the end of your budget and you find yourself $90,000 short, fine, you're going to raise tax 1 penny. Okay? You find yourself $180,000 short, you raise it 2 pennies. Or you find $180,000 in cuts. You balance your budget every year. Okay.
Kayla.
Can I piggyback off that?
Sure.
One thing, the whole purpose of the policy, and I think you're asking questions you already know, and I already know that. But I do want to point out the whole purpose of that policy was because last year, going through that, putting reoccurring capital expenditures out of 171. So we're trying to put a framework to prevent that, because when you start trying to shuffle money around just to make things work, it's going to come back and bite you. And then everybody's like, well, what happened? How did we get here? That was the whole framework for that, is the budget may look ugly, but wouldn't you rather have it look ugly and it be truthful and it is what it is, and trying to shift it over here just to get by? It's going to come back and get you. And that's the whole purpose of that. Now we put it out there, the awareness has been made. Now let's go back and let's try to ease it a little bit, where we can not feel like we're in violation of, because I mean, I hate to stand up here and say, I'm for a budget that violates policy. Y'all know that goes against my grain. But I'm not gonna stand up here and advocate this raise taxes again for $110,000 either.
Mr. Savage.
Yeah, the current fiscal year is almost over, and we discussed it at the last budget meeting. Approximately how much, that's, we roll back to the budget after this year based off the current numbers?
Great question. Right now, we are still, loaded with invoices that we're paying out right now. The latest number as of today, and again, before I give you this number, I want you to think about unfilled positions. I want you to think about all the things we talked about in budget. We're looking at around a little over 2 million, but at 2 million includes all the grants and all the things that we have not liquidated out, meaning those are going to roll forward. Now, I did not break those numbers down. I don't know what those are. I mean, had I been briefed that was going to be asked, I could have given you that exact number. But when I just take the entire county budget and I look at it, it's around 2 million. Like I said, we still got the health department grants still going on, numerous other. We got a lot of OEM's got a lot of grants, and this one inflates that number a lot. But I'm very comfortable that we're going to have a good bit going back to our fund balance.
Mr. Reedy.
Yes. You know, as we build this budget, we build a budget based on anticipated property tax return, on anticipated sales tax return. I guess I can't see the difference between building a budget on anticipated returns on spent and over budget. I mean, that's part of budgeting. We look at it that way. We balance the budget. The budget is balanced now. We just won't make something negative out of it. And it's a positive thing. We're anticipating returns, and we budget on those anticipated returns. Just like in your personal home, you think you're going to go to work, and you budget on what you're expecting to get. Now, if you break a leg, you're going to have to make an alteration. But that's, we are budgeting, and it's a reasonable budget. We're hamstringing the highway department. We're sending them into a desk pile because they have to buy equipment out of fund balance that maybe they can last a couple of years or 3 years doing that. But then somebody's going to tell us we can't do that. I think it's, and we owe our souls to the school system for giving us back the money and agreeing to do that. We could have, but they agreed to do it. And we're still leaving them in a situation to where they can continue, maybe not at the pace they need to continue, but they can continue repairing these schools and keeping us from having to go into a new building program that's going to be 70+ million. And we'll figure that out. And if we had not made that tax increase last year, we would have been crying for 3.1 million, as Graham said. And it's painful and it's slow, like eating spaghetti with a toothpick. It's slow and not as painful. So I think we've got a working budget. Is it a good budget that we like? Is it what we really want? No, but we can't come up with what we really want. We want it all. We just got to be content with what we got.
Well, the reason why I'm very comfortable with this budget is because we've got patrol cars in here. They're back where they belong. We've got a remount in here. It's back where it belongs. We have what we need to sustain. Yes, we know next year's budget is going to have an increase because we're going to have inflationary costs. We're going to have those things that are going to impact our budget. But to put the expenditures back where they belong in the county general budget and only be short of 110,000, that's a good day to me, folks. It's a good day.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Gentry next because he has not spoken, and I've got Ms. Jones and Ms. Adams. Okay. Mr. Gentry?
Okay. Comment, get a question. The comment is, can you hear me? Okay, so the comment is, Mr. Stowe alluded to the fact that if it had not been for the $3.1 million
due to the property tax, the balance, the budget is not having balance. And it's good to know that well now. But my question is, do we know how much revenue we may have brought in, this past year to help that?
Make sure I'm understanding your question. You're asking me, do we know the revenue from the property tax?
No, the revenue from sales tax.
The sales tax revenue?
Sales tax revenue, how much did we bring in?
Okay, well, do you have your budget binder with you? Well, I have mine. I'm just asking those of you who have your budget binder. I want to show you. You know, I'm visual. I want you to see what I see. If you look at, so the sales tax, we know statutorily has to go to the school system. Okay, that's what the TCA states. And if you go to your 141 budget and you look on page 1 on your highlighted, your grayed out sheets, it's going to show you towards the top 40210 local option sales tax. You go to your second column, your estimated actual. It's 7.335644. That is your estimated amount of your revenue the school system is going to receive this fiscal year. That number is not exact because obviously when we did the budget, we probably was May or so May's estimate, but it's going to be pretty close. So if you go there, there's $500,000 that you all have appropriated through resolution for the county's portion of the sales tax that goes into the general fund. We get a flat $500,000. That can be changed, but currently that's where it stands at $500,000. Then if you go to your other tab and to your capital projects, and you'll go to 189, you'll see that we've got this fiscal year projected to receive 1.199947, so almost 1.2 million. So those two numbers added together is what the county received, county and schools received for sales tax. Now remember, on this budget, we've got the courthouse bond. You'll notice that we're showing $400,000 of sales tax revenue going to 189. The remainder is going back into debt service to cover this courthouse bond. And that's just on sales tax.
Okay, thank you. I actually raised the question because just the 4 months that I've been on in this seat, been trying to catch up and do a little study. And to balance the budget, that is all of our job. And I know you guys already know that. And I'm just learning that. So I'm saying that to say this, that hopefully whoever is elected in August, when we said that in the chair, would work together to do everything we possibly do to get businesses somewhere in the county of Child to get more sales dollars in here, offset raising taxes going forward. That was the reason for the question.
Anything further? Mr. Adams.
I just want to make a comment. I know every year when we start the budget, we come in and say, well, we're going to be this far now. No way to cut this budget. Ain't no such thing. Somebody's budget is overestimated or overfigured if they got all this money to give back.
Okay. Which, who, I'm sorry?
I know about what I'm gonna spend on my operation.
Okay, so I want to use the sheriff's department example. When Joe walked out, he went out, we were talking about it, not even being here. But, for example, they start out wanting to be fully staffed, but they have turnover. They have people who leave. Example, they may have somebody who took a job somewhere else. Well, there's a hiring process. You don't just pick up somebody the next day on payroll. You may go several months without having somebody fill that position. Could be up to a year. So then you have those situations where you may budget for somebody who's got family health insurance. You may get a retired military person to come in. Doesn't cost us a dime for health insurance. We actually have a lot of those in our sheriff's department. I'm very grateful for their service and grateful for how much money they save us. A budget is a variable. There is no way any of us are going to know exactly how much money we're going to receive unless it's a direct allocation like maybe the school's TISA funds or what our expenditures are. It's variables. But you have to look at the whole, and you have to know your departments. Like I know that more than likely, Walter at EMS is not gonna have the same staff at July 1 as he did on June 30th. I hate to speak negatively like that, but it's probably the truth, it's reality. You probably won't need it. And you take that into consideration with your budgets. Same way with education. We budget for a number of teachers. We budget for whoever they are at that time. 9 times out of 10, we budget for them come August 1st. We want to talk about how many changes we have? You just got to account for those to have good budget. The last thing you want to do when you do a budget is you want to underestimate your revenues and underestimate your expenditures.
Thank you. Any further questions?
You would like, you speak, said something about the commissioners, but it's in debt, because they're gonna get a raise. There ain't nobody in here that draws a check or starts a job that didn't get a raise last year. When I started as a commissioner, I think we got $30 a week. I'm gonna put it up to 40, and that's just outrageous. $40, you come down here, start a meeting at 8:30 or 9, and you lucky some days you get out at 12:30.
Well, and just for the record, Mr. Adams, I'm in favor of you all getting a raise. I know some of you aren't, but I'm in favor of that. So you're preaching to the choir, sir.
I don't have a problem with, I never come right down here. I don't have a problem with getting paid for what they're doing. Anybody thinks it's overpaid, they ought to come down here and work for that. You're not gonna get rich. Commission is brain for doing it. Insurance company, they get raises every year. But they all come in.
It's just y'all's turn this year. Last year was a different department. It's just y'all's turn this year. It'll be somebody different next year.
Any, any further discussion? Dr. Lathrop?
I call the question or call for a break. One or the other.
Is there any further discussion? Let's go to the vote. Mr. Doyle?
This budget is not perfect,
Sorry.
but I do think we made a lot of progress. I think we made a lot of cuts. We started with a $757,000 deficit, moving close to $110,000. Largely thanks to the school board chair's proposal, Mr. Vanderpool suggesting to move 5 pennies. That helped us close the gap significantly. The department heads came in with bare bones budgets. I mean, you all know this. I'm voting to approve the budget tonight, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same. My heart is racing over here because I'm hearing the most from Mr. Adams, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones. 3 of them voted against. I made the motion to reduce commissioner pay. That would have closed the gap from 110 to about 60. Would have cut it in half. The argument that this budget is not balanced enough is hard to take seriously from those who declined the clearest opportunity to make it more balanced. So I think we should move forward and let the county get on with their business. Otherwise, voting no has the effect of delaying this a month, the cost of another round of budget hearings, a public hearing, publication of the budget, the actual cost, uncertainty among the departments. The department has had to reappear, re-argue their case. I just didn't want to end on the rest of those comments where I think we should find consensus, which I think we did in that budget process. We took our time deliberately making cuts. You know, I didn't support the cut to the library. With that exception, you know, I think we've done great to find consensus here. So that's why I'm voting to approve it tonight.
Dr. Lathrop had asked for a break, and I'm not going to take a vote without him in his seat, so he's coming right back. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Vote is 19 ayes and 2 no.
Motion passes.
The next,
Thank you, Ms. Summer.
next order of business is 2026-47, fixing the tax levy in Giles County, Tennessee for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026.
What are the wishes? Motion to approve by Mr. Brown, seconded by Ms. Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
The vote is 20 ayes and 1 no.
Motion passes.
Next order of business is unfinished business.
Is there any unfinished business to come before the commission? Seeing none, is there any new business to come before the commission? Seeing none, we're now to our second public comment section of the night, so anyone who would like to speak, please come to the podium. And it needs to pertain to something that, that this commission has control over. Please state your name, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Sorry, guys. I'm Ronna Valentine, and I do want to apologize for breaking the quorum earlier. I'm new and I'm learning. I did want to make a point because they talked about AI data centers. And it does seem like there's some lack of education on the part of some of the commissioners, but most counties, there's over 100 in the country, are putting on temporary moratoriums, meaning they put a break on it while people study the impacts. They study our zoning if we have it or whatever. One thing that we really need to be aware of, the point was made about electrical use, also water, and one thing that really was upsetting for the Memphis AI data center is the noise, and nobody thinks about that up front. Also, there's diesel generation emissions, land use compatibility, where we put it, road impacts, and tax benefits versus community costs. So it's really important that we slow down and take a look at it. Most of these things are putting on it's a temporary, they're not saying no, they're not saying they're against it. They're just saying, hold up until we get ourselves and we get more information on what an AI data center can do to us. I just did want to say also that if I'm elected, that's one thing I'm certainly going to push for, that we be proactive and look at things that could cause our county danger just because we didn't take action to see it coming and take care of ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who would like to speak, address the commission? Seeing none, we'll move to announcements. Ms. Curry?
Yeah, Ann Basinger with the Chamber of Commerce is retiring. She has been a tremendous asset to our community, and I hope y'all will join me in attending her retirement party next Tuesday, June 30th, and it's come and go between 10 and 2 at the gym.
Ms. Jones?
Yes, the groundbreaking for the new E911 facility is going to be Monday at 10 o'clock. It's coming in within their budget. They're going to be able to fund it. They're not going to have to come to the county commission to get funding. So hats off to them. They've been saving for years. And if you'd like to come to the groundbreaking, I'm sure they'd appreciate seeing you there. Oh, it is at, you know what the health department is, you know, the present E911 building there. And it'll be, the new building is going to be in front of the present building. And the present building will be utilized, but.
Any other announcements? Josh?
I will add that if you do plan to come, there's very little parking, so either park in the health department or EMS and walk over.
Okay. Mr. Wilbur? Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.